Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at Haxorus in the Open Great League, and we're going to also explain why this Pokemon is going to be actually really cool right now, and I can highly recommend you to try it out. The thing is, Haxorus kinda got a secret buff this season, not really directly, but the thing is that we're going to encounter way more Lickitung, which is going to be very nice. We're going to encounter less Galarian Stunfisk, which is of course a Pokemon that you would be able to beat before, but now you're going to encounter the Alolan Sandslash, which is actually really cool for you as well, as your counter is going to be double super effective against them. And also Registeel you're going to be able to beat. You're going to beat so many different Pokemon. For Gligar you have Coverage Reserve, which you're going to run here as well. You're going to be able to completely destroy Lantern. You're going to have basically against like most of the meta great play. Even against like something like a Medicham, you're still going to do a lot of damage with the Breaking Swipe. Here we're going to decide to swap out into our Pilipar, trying to get some extra energy because you're going to have to swap out anyway. And the opponent decides to swap into their own Medicham, which is going to be a nice source, as we can now spam those weather balls, and we can even spam another one to see what they're going to run in the back. And it's going to be, let's take a look, it's going to be a Shadow Shiny Charizard. Very, very nice for the opponent, as we're going to have to let this move go through here, keeping our shield alive, as we can definitely turn down the switch clock with this incoming weather ball, getting rid of a shield. Now we have to hope that we can still go for 2 breaking swipes in order to knock out the opponent's Charizard, and we are going to be able to do exactly that, which is going to be nice, as the opponent is going to actually let the first move go through, but we would have been able to reach the second one anyway. So moving on now, we're going to take a look at the next one. We're going to have the Chesnaught in the lead. Great lead for us, but we're also going to have great Pokemon in the back for it. So maybe I should have not swapped immediately here, but I didn't really want to give the opponent any energy so they can get for something like the Frenzy Plant or something against me. But they decided to go into their own Gligar, which would have been cool if we could have went into our Pelipper, which of course does super effective damage with Weather Ball. And here we're just going to do neutral damage. But looking like we're going to be able to win CMP here, we're going to have a great time, and just we're going to mirror our shields, as we're going to always be able to realign our Pokemon. And as we're going to have a flying type Pokemon in the back, it's going to be very good for us to realign our Pokemon, as the opponent's Chesnaught will not really have the greatest time. We're going to see the final shield from the opponent coming through, but they're going to also swap out now into the Quagsire, allowing us to swap into our Haxorus, as we're going to be able to just go for a Breaking Swipe eventually. But again, our backline is going to be totally fine against whatever they are running, because we know about the Chesnaught already. I'm going to overfarm by quite a lot, so the opponent gets less farm themselves. And we will see here that I'm going to go down by 1 Wind Whip, most likely from the opponent, which is going to be totally okay, as we're going to have our good friend, the Pelipper. I'm going to wait out the clock here, so maybe I can swap out later to catch a move from the opponent's Gligar on my Gligar, which I expect that we're going to see this very soon. We're going to shield up the Frenzy Plant, and they decide to swap out here already. And I would be able to win CMP here, but it would be way cooler if I swap out here, right? Yep, of course it would be. So we're going to be able to catch the opponent's move here. Totally unnecessary, but I just wanted to do it so I can Hurricane the opponent later on. But sadly they decide to swap, like they forfeit already, as we can now move on to the next game. We're going to encounter an Altaria. Altaria is going to be a very tough one, but also a very rare one. I feel like that Haxorus even works out better in higher up meta, of course, before the Go Battle Day, which is here currently the Go Battle Day still. I tried to drop a little bit in terms of points. I just forfeited, like, I think around 45 games in order to drop that low, just so I can get the battles done, because before I had like crazy queue times already, and I didn't really want to have this to happen, and I'm gonna climb up anyway. But here we're going to now, of course, encounter like people around the 2400 area, I think, at this point already, as we were able to climb up quite a bit. And we are going to see that we can catch the move onto our Pelipper, which might have not been the smartest idea, as the opponent is going to have in the back the Altaria still, which is maybe getting, yeah, most likely gonna get to a move which is going to knock me out here, so it's not looking too great. And I'm gonna be forced to kinda go into my Haxorus here, I guess. I don't really, like, I don't know, at least I don't really think that my Gligar is going to be fine for it. So I hope that this is just going to do enough damage, and it just barely doesn't do enough damage, and I cannot swap out either, and they can still go for a charge move, and this is going to hurt quite a bit. So it's not really looking too good for us as the Sky Attack comes through. Let's see, we have to hope that there's something in the back that we can beat, and it's actually going to be the Carbink. I expected them to swap out here, which works out super well for me, so I can reach 2 dicks, and 2 dicks should be enough to knock them out here, right? Super effective stab, buffed this season, and we will see already they're at half health, and of course it does not do enough damage. They're literally surviving on a 1 HP here, and they're going to be able to win this game because of this, and it just shows how overpowered Carbink is, honestly. Yes, you're going to have the 4 times weakness against Steel-type Pokemon, but there are no Steel-type moves in the current meta, which is honestly something that I wish would be different. I feel like having Steel-type moves around would be something really cool to have, just in general for like the Pokemon that are weak to it. I don't know. It would be cool that we have like some cool child moves for steel typing. I honestly don't know why this type is like completely nerfed, like offensively, of course, like defensively, of course. This move is like, well, like the type itself is really, really cool, but we don't really have any good steel type fast move at all, and we have only a few half decent steel type charge moves, which I feel like could be changed. Like honestly, I don't really think that like steel typing itself is a really bad offensive type, just a really great defensive type. So I don't really know why you don't give like, I don't know, even coverage moves for steel typing, so Carbink isn't as strong in general. But let's take a look here at this game where we're going to encounter Registeel. We're going to be forced to basically go for 2 Weather Balls against the opponent here with our Pelipper, getting them around the yellow health range here. This should do around like 30% each, so we're gonna put them here at around like 45, I would say, at this point of time. So we can just let the Zapcan go through because we don't really have a shield, so we don't really have an option. And I should have most likely actually gonna go ahead and go for a charge move. Yeah, I think I could have farmed them down if I wanted to, but I just didn't want to, honestly. Like, why would you farm them down, right? So we're going to be able to just go ahead and go for another charge move against the opponent's Hitmontop in the back. And this is going to be a very, very close matchup, as we are going to go ahead and swap out here, where I definitely should have went for the Breaking Swipe first, but I didn't know that the opponent would not go for a charge move first. So yeah, we're going to be able to still go for the Breaking Swipe. They didn't swap out for whatever reason. And like this, we're going to be able to actually counter down a Ghost type because Haxorus can do something like this. Next opponent, Carbink in the lead. It's actually a better lead than you might expect, to be fair, because Surf is not gonna do a ton of damage. The opponent does only do like, yeah, I mean, does still do a decent amount of damage with their charge moves. But as you're going to see here, the opponent decides to swap out into the Medicham. And honestly, if you have a team in the current meta where your lead is weak against Gligar, and the best thing that you can swap into a Gligar is a Medicham, you're doing something wrong. Like, I just don't want to really be disrespectful for the player here or whatever, but Gligar Say Swap is literally everywhere, and I just don't really get how you have teams like this. Like, honestly, like, try to have at least one answer for Gligar there that you can swap in if the opponent swaps them in, but I don't know. Here we're gonna encounter a Wigglytuff, a Pokemon that's actually very strong as well. Tried it out myself recently, but yeah, we're gonna be able to just go for a Weather Ball spam here, as we're going to be able to outspeed them usually. But I wanted to decide to just go ahead and try to get an extra fast move in here, which is fine. We're gonna be able to go for 2 Weather Balls anyway, as the opponent still sneaks another one through because we had some lag there as well. Honestly, still have so many frame drops with my phone, even though I have like a very, very expensive phone, which is like really telling how poorly the game is working. But we will be able to farm them all the way down here with the Wigglytuff giving us a ton of energy for the Digger speed later on. But I decided to go for the Aerial Ace here. Maybe I should have went for the Dig just to do more damage in general. And now I decided to swap out into my Haxorus, getting the Hyper Beam onto me, because I expected them to run Hyper Beam, and I guess they're very weak to Gligar. I decided to just sacrifice my other Pokemon there in the back. Let's see if this was a smart decision. We will find out shortly, as this should only be a Scorching Sands. I should be able to survive this one for sure, of course. We don't get the attack debuff, and it's going to be another Charm Pokemon in the back. So that's basically similar to the team that I showcased as well, for like one of the most toxic Pokemon there with the Grand Ball team, which I showcased, but without the Grand Ball Spice was Snarl. So we're still going to be able to just finish up the opponent there with another Dig. Next opponent, great lead for us. Greninja is an amazing lead for us, actually, as we're going to do super effective damage against them. And they decide to swap out into their own Medicham, allowing me to go for a Breaking Swipe, getting the attack drop and swapping out into my Pelipper. Pelipper is not weak to any charge move of the opponent. Well, of course, Gligar gets double super effective damage against like an Ice Punch, for example. So we're going to be able to just take the opponent's Psychic, allowing us to go for a Weather Ball, and this Weather Ball is gonna do a lot of damage, enough to knock them out, and we will see what they're gonna swap back into. Fairly likely that it's going to be the Greninja again, of course, and we can still throw the Weather Balls. It's better to just do some damage here, because you're going to have to try to farm it out anyway later on, and maybe you're going to end up with the Gligar against the opponent's Greninja, which would not be as ideal, but they're actually running a Shadow Registeel in the back, which is something I kind of want to showcase again. I kind of want to showcase the Shadow Registeel again, just to have some fun with it. But it's difficult to build a team around it. It's just way worse than the normal Registeel. So yeah, we're going to be able to just go for an Aerial Ace against the opponent here and kind of force a shield from them, because there's nothing else that they can do about it. They don't really have a lot of health, but they decide to no shield anyway, because I guess they're just knowing that this game is over. I decided to no shield as well, knowing that I can just actually kind of farm down here. Still gonna go for a charge move, and you see me just not even hitting all the bubbles. The opponent still doesn't know that it's over, as we can just counter them down and win this game. So, game coming up here, next going to be Haxorus against the Mantine. This is going to be an awkward one. Mantine is a very strong Pokemon against our team, as this Pokemon is going to be able to actually beat every single Pokemon in neutral scenarios. So, that's not ideal, but I can let this move go through. It's just going to be an Aerial Ace, and they didn't go up to an Ice Beam, which is kind of nice for me. And I swap out into my Gligar, forcing them to go for a CMP tie against the Aerial Ace, where I definitely going to be able to win the CMP tie usually. But they decide to swap out now into their own Sandslash, and honestly, I feel like I make crazy mistakes in this game. I'm going to use a shield here, which is fine. I can still get up to a dig, but I'm going to go for the Aerial Ace bait first, which is, of course, a little bit risky, but it works out fairly well, as I expect, of course, a dig to come through. Will be able to use a shield now onto the Ice Punch. They just got to it, and I decide to go for another bait here. And I thought myself, I should just go for the dig. And of course, we're gonna see that they're going to no shield. I was able to catch the move onto the Pokemon that I was supposed to farm down with. And like this, I'm going to be in such a bad spot that this game is basically over. Like, there's nothing that I can do about it anymore, because I'm such a idiot, honestly, on how I played this game. I should have just let my Gligar go down, or should have went for the dig, or should have went for the counter down against the opponent's Sandslash. I did not go for anything, and we're going to have now the Digger Spear in the back here, and I'm just going to leave you with this most satisfying charge move from the opponent's Digger Spear, of course, as this game is sadly, with this one, over, because I am not capable of playing this game, apparently. Hyperion coming through, going to knock me out. Good game to the opponent. I definitely could have won this game, but I just played a little bit smarter. Next opponent going to be Pidgeot, but Pidgeot with Gust, which is an interesting choice here, which I feel like is actually more interesting than I thought, because Gust going to allow you to put a lot of Pokemon into range where you can just go for a Feather Dance and already force a shield or be the knockout. So I feel like it's not even the worst choice to go for Gust over the fast move Wing Attack on this Pokemon. Of course, if you want to nuke Pokemon with a Brave Bird, which you see here, funnily enough, it's definitely better to have the Wing Attack over the over the Gust here, of course, but we're still going to be able to realign our Pokemon. But sadly, it's going to be a Bastiodon, and Bastiodon is going to be very decent against our Bird in the back. So we're going to be forced to use a Surf, which is going to get the opponent luckily into range where I can hopefully still reach another one. Okay, I can still keep a move at least stored onto my Haxorus, which is going to be maybe nice in the future, but we will see the Medicham swapping in here, and I just have to go for the Hurricane on the CMP tie on the Psychic, which is all it takes. Here we're gonna see the knockout coming through, and also we can go for another charge move if the opponent would have let me. We wouldn't actually knock them out immediately, but we still had our Breaking Stripe stored anyway, so we were fine. Actually, I think Deoxys is the only way where I decide to swap into my Pelipper instead, because Deoxys is a fairly annoying Pokemon to deal with, and you kind of want to have always your best answer still available, which in this case is, of course, the Gligar. We're going to be able to still go for one charge move here. Hurricane comes through, we're going to do a ton of damage, and we will see the Body Slam coming through as well. We can go for the double Weather Ball here, as Weather Ball should get the shield, hopefully. It does get the shield, and I can still go for another one. Maybe forcing the opponent to throw another charge move here, because they might think that they cannot farm me down, and this is really working out here, as they definitely would have been able to farm me down, so they didn't have to throw it, as far as I at least was able to see there. We're gonna get a ton of energy with our Gligar, which is actually amazing for me, as now we're going to be able to use that energy against the Tapu Fini. This is basically the worst possible Pokemon to face here. Nice. My only play is to try to go and catch a move onto my Haxorus, which, as you can see here, worked out super well. So the opponent has Tapu Fini, one of the hardest answers to both of the Pokemon that I have, a Deoxys with energy, and I have a not even half-health Gligar, as well as a very low Haxorus. So this is looking great, right? It actually is, because we're gonna get the shield here, because the opponent for whatever reason decided to go for the Thunderbolt instead. I now win CMP against the opponent, and now the only thing is, can I outspeed the opponent's Tapu Fini? Did the opponent's Tapu Fini overcharge too much over the Surf? Because usually we outspeed them by 3 turns, and we do outspeed them again. So this is actually by 4 turns, not 3 turns, so that's really nice for us. We will be able to now knock them out, and we will now go ahead and go for the next one. Actually, it is 3 turns for the second Surf, as far as I know. But yeah, doesn't matter. We're going to now see the Azumarill in the lead. You're going to most likely wonder, what, how do you play against this one? I have no idea. We're going to now go ahead and go into our Gligar, which will take the Hydro Pump, so that's definitely exactly what you want to do. Watch me still win this game. We're gonna be able to still go ahead and go into our Pelipper. Pelipper is a great boy here. Pelipper is definitely our best answer for the Zoom roll, which I think everybody who kind of knows this game does realize it as well, so I don't really have to say it extra. But we will be able to just go for the Hurricane against the opponent. This will get either the knockout or get them low, I guess, as we will see the opponent swapping into their Sableye, allowing me to go for a Weather Ball, allowing me to swap out into my Haxorus here, which will go for a Breaking Swipe, and we're gonna see also the attack drop from the opponent, allowing us to go for another Breaking Swipe, knocking them out, and they're going to have the Marowak in the back, which is tricky. They're going to have, of course, the Ghost typing, which is going to double resist actually. My counter is a fast move, but we're also going to have access to the move Surf, which is going to be super effective. But they, of course, know about this because every secondary charge move of Haxorus would be super effective. If you run Earthquake, it's super effective. If you run Night Slash, it would be super effective. So yeah, it's not really the biggest secret there that our secondary charge move is super effective, but are we going to be able to just go for a shield against the Azumarill, and Haxorus is going to be able to knock that thing out, going for one fast move, going for a Breaking Swipe, and we can hopefully go for 2 more fast moves and then still reach the Breaking Swipe, and that's exactly what we can do here, and this is going to be it for today's video. This team worked out super well. Haxorus is a lot of fun, and this team definitely is something that you could try out at home if you're not too scared about like Ice-type Pokemon, but this is going to be it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.